Hello, and welcome to the Bluegrass Sports Show, or
We are the BS Show. We are two fat guys who apparently talk crap and nothing but crap because our opinions don't matter. Go ahead.
I'm Carl,
And I'm Perry.
the animal. Hey, I forgot what I was going to say. Today we are discussing North Carolina's non. God, take over.
Essentially, what we're going to discuss today, and we will get to that in just a few moments.
Oh
We're
Lord.
going to touch base on the North Carolina scandal, or lack
Yes.
thereof, apparently, to where there's been no sanctions placed down by the NCAA.
Yep.
First thing I would like to put out there, we appreciate all our viewers. We appreciate all your feedback, whether it be positive or negative. However, if you have any issues with something that we say, provide me with any type of fact or stat to support your claim as opposed to what I'm saying, because what I know is 100% right. And just because it hurts your Dookie or Boston feeling, boo-hoo. Go ahead.
So, what?
I have from day one
Please.
been completely unbiased in everything I've said on here.
I'm telling you guys, he is fired up the last couple days. So, what we know so far, this is the end of it. What we know is that North Carolina has class or classes that don't require you to even be in the class, correctly?
Essentially, you enroll in the class and you get a grade.
Yes.
Maybe you might meet once. I think maybe you're required to turn in a term paper, but that's it.
Right.
I think, and that's just minor detail, and I don't think that's completely accurate. It's just,
Yeah,
it's a bogus class.
Yeah. It bogus classes. And the NCAA passed no. What's the word I'm looking for, Perry?
They passed. They had no judgment. Well, they passed judgment. They just essentially said there's nothing here for us to say.
Yeah. To condemn.
The University of North Carolina openly admitted and accepted. They accepted the title of academic fraud. The NCAA come out and admitted that.
Mm-hmm.
The NCAA said in their statement today that while it is more than likely that the University of North Carolina did use this for purposes of maintaining eligibility for student athletes.
Right.
But
you can't, or they couldn't limit it to where it was created for that reason.
Exactly. Their scapegoat for the University of North Carolina is saying it wasn't just for student athletes. Any student can do it. Essentially, what that is saying is you have a random person look at a black woman and say, I hate black women. And say, well, you're a racist, sexist pig. Well, don't worry. I also hate black men. Well, guess what? You're still a racist. You may not be sexist because you only hate black women, but guess what? You're a racist still, regardless. You still let them walk. Let them walk. We're providing over 2.5 decades, close to 3 decades worth of academic fraud. There's 2 banners that hang in the rafters of the Dean Dome right now that had rosters filled with players that were in these classes.
Yep.
They don't come to college. While granted they're on an athletic scholarship, they're still labeled as a student athlete.
Yep.
Exactly. Student is in the name. By the way, it's mentioned first.
Yep.
So, it's just...
You got to be a student first.
I don't get it.
That's the way it should be. You've got to be a student first.
This was actually predicted to happen many, many moons ago by the great prophet known as Chuck D. and his platform with Public Enemy. It's essentially, he says this, I testify, Rashad McCants, he cried, Louisville dies while North Carolina slides. It's true.
I didn't know that.
Louisville is getting essentially borderline death penalty. Now, granted, Louisville's got their own sins that they're going to pay for.
Yes.
But Louisville just had a title vacated.
Yep.
Because they provided hookers and strip shows to the athletes on the team and to recruits.
Yep.
North Carolina has funneled students, whether they be student athletes or non-student athletes, into fraudulent classes. Not only does that affect the credibility of a degree from the University of North Carolina, it directly affects the eligibility of the student athletes. I understand if you want to say, well, we have no rule that says this was an NCAA violation. It wasn't just for student athletes, other students. That's fine. I understand and I accept that.
Right.
It's just a gray area that the NCAA had no way to punish. The problem with this being, why didn't you? Why is it that you have no way to punish this whatsoever with the University of North Carolina, but Penn State has Jerry Sandusky sexually abuse teenagers and children for 30 years, but you can find a way because of that to institute any type of control violation that you can, vacate 13 years worth of wins and find them such and such millions of dollars. So you're telling me that child molestation is an NCAA issue, but being eligible for athletic events is not?
Yeah, I mean, there is no way I can look at this and say that they shouldn't have got any punishment. There's no way. Looking at all corners of it, there's no way I can look at it and say that I can see why they didn't get punished.
Now, I'm going to tell you something 100% truthful, and some people might disagree with this. The only other school in the country where this is certain, as far as a power school, that's certain to where the same result would have happened, where nothing would have happened, would have been Duke. The only reason why we're not on that list is because of John Calipari.
Yep.
If the same thing happens here with John Calipari as our coach, we get crucified. Now, if it's Tubby Smith, maybe not. If it's Billy Gillespie or somebody else down the road, maybe not, because we're a cash cow.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yep. We don't get hit with that violation either, and that's the reason.
Calipari has a name.
Yes. Well, yes, Calipari is the great will that everybody seeks to destroy. If you take down Calipari, your career is made.
Right.
If we don't have Calipari and that happens to us, we probably skate too.
Yep.
Truth be told about it. Now, we've been given the death penalty. We're essentially right at the doorstep of the death penalty, of course, in the late 80s, under Eddie Sutton. But this same scandal that's just happened at North Carolina, we skate on that too. But just like they're doing the Louisville right now with the hooker scandal, because they don't have a way to punish Carolina, they're going to hang Louisville by the neck until dead. And that's the way. And Louisville's got their own sins piling onto that. That's going to keep going. Right. But the hooker scandal at Louisville, the reason why they got punished so hard, and this is just speculation on my point. I 100% admit that. It's speculation.
Yep.
The reason why they got smashed so hard in the Hookergate scandal, because the NCAA had no way to punish North Carolina. So they made an example out of Louisville. Now, with the paying for players with Louisville, that's just ignorant on their part, knowing they're on probation. That's just taking a whole other line on their part.
But we already had that.
Exactly. The Carolina, it's disgusting. It's a black eye on the entire collegiate association itself, not just college basketball, just across the board. They supposedly had documentation stating that the women's team was completely funneling student athletes to this class for the purpose of staying eligible. Same with the football team. The basketball team was questionable if they had that evidence, but nobody got anything. Nothing whatsoever. The only thing that they got was a black eye on the academics portion of the school. Yes, it should have got a black eye as well, but nobody cares. Nobody cares except for the academic portion and faculty of the University of North Carolina. Nobody cares, and possibly parents wanting to send their child or children to the University of North Carolina for the purposes of getting an education. They're going to care.
Right. Now, you could see some repercussions. That's the word I was trying to think about.
Well, you might see repercussions.
From students.
Yes, but at the end of the day, they got no punishment.
Right.
They got put on a 1-year probation by some little rinky-dink Southern-based association that nobody's ever heard of. But it wasn't for athletics. It was for academic probation.
Yep.
It had nothing to do with athletics. Essentially, and Syracuse is also a name that I think that would skate in this situation because so many media members got their education from North Carolina or Syracuse.
Right.
Cash cows. Cash cows. That's what it boils down to. In 10 years, you know the facts of Pangea, correct? You know what Pangea is. Never heard of Pangea? Pangea is a theory that many thousands of years ago, all the continents in the world were one place.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that. Yep.
Exactly. It was called Pangea. Yep. October 13th, 2017 is going to be remembered as the day the NCAA died. 10 years from today, whenever and it could be sooner, whenever all the college programs and stuff, they have split up into their own governing body and the NCAA has gone by the wayside, this stake right here that the NCAA drove in at 10 o'clock this morning, that's going to be the tipping scale. There's been all types of issues throughout history of inconsistency with the NCAA. Mm-hmm. Cam Newton. And then you directly have the same thing 2 months later with Enes Kanter. Cam Newton gets to play, Enes Kanter can't.
Right.
That affected us, but on a unbiased scale, it's the same concept.
Right.
You have this issue everywhere. The NCAA 15 years ago let Duke slide whenever Corey Maggette went under oath in court and stated that he took money to go to Duke University to play basketball from a Duke booster.
Mm-hmm.
But they found that there's no way that Duke could know about it, so Duke slid. Same thing with Lance Thomas in 2011. Whenever he had all this improper benefit pop up out of nowhere, but he refused to participate, and then the jewelry store involved refused to participate, so the NCAA said, well, we can't investigate if nobody will participate. Duke slid.
Right.
But then you have in 2008, the NCAA proves nothing about Derrick Rose. Nothing whatsoever.
May not have taken his SAT.
Exactly.
Whole year's removed.
Exactly. Yep. 38 wins. Gone.
Mm-hmm.
Gone.
Yep.
A Final Four banner. Gone. That program still hasn't recovered.
Right. And I mean...
Now, part of that's losing
That's
Cal.
what I was going to say. Part of that's losing Cal, but...
But also, it still hasn't recovered.
And that's something I can't stand. When you look at things that they have punished in the past. And you can use whatever excuse you want that, well, it's not fully student athletes. It's students as well. That's an excuse. Because here, looking directly at the Derrick Rose incident, you proved absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
He may not have, so we're going to punish him anyway.
And he was also declared eligible twice before that.
Mm-hmm.
He was found to be eligible 2 separate times before that. And because he's on the road playing the NCAA tournament and can't directly cooperate with a third investigation for the same reason, well, if he's not going to investigate, we have to deem him ineligible. Garbage.
Yep.
Just today, NC State had a player that was declared ineligible because he took a summer class. So because he took a class, it made him ineligible to enroll. But Carolina's got 25 years going back to Dean Smith of not taking classes, but they're fine.
Yeah, it's just amazing to see the inconsistency, like you said, and just the difference. If you are a powerhouse, and I'm saying this about Kentucky too, if you are a powerhouse team, you have a high percentage chance of just skating on by and it not hurting you. I mean, that's the truth. If you're a powerhouse team, you have a decent chance at it. If you're a small team or a smaller team, you're crucified.
Yes, and it's the nature of the beast, and as long as the NCAA, Mark Emmert is a joke. He's the head of the NCAA. He's an absolute joke. It's funny with the connection, and this is conspiracy theories. It is what it is. But he was the chancellor at LSU whenever we beat them, whenever he was ranked number 1 in football in 2007. And then whenever Enes Kanter originally committed to the University of Washington, he was the president there. But whenever Kanter decommitted, he was still president, and he became head of NCAA. It's odd that Kanter never got eligible, but Cam Newton did.
Right.
But once again, that's just conspiracy theories. That's not anything I do or do not believe. It's just conspiracy theories that's out there.
Right.
Everything's got a conspiracy theory.
Like your Michael Jordan.
Like my Michael Jordan. My Michael Jordan conspiracy theory. Correct.
Oh.
Just
Yeah, I think that's all for it. But just know where we stand on this. It's not okay.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's definitely not
And
okay.
just it goes completely against the model of what you look at as a student athlete. And if you want to look at it at North Carolina UNC-CH as an academic institution, it's regarded as one of the 5 greatest public state-funded institutions in the United States.
Mm.
I mean, are you still? I mean, and something else. I want to go back in case I seemed as a little harsh as a comment that was left on a previous video. Yes, I'm a Laker fan. Yes, I'm a Kentucky fan. But from who the comment came from, they know very well that I'm very capable of being unbiased, and they also know very well that I know what I'm talking about. He and I have had the same conversation over and over. Now, Jackie McMullen is very respected in the journalistic community. I 100% admit that. But the statement she made was very moronic. Absolutely moronic. And if you have issue with that, you know how to get a hold of me, and we'll talk about it privately.
Yeah, I understand and I apologize if you guys don't like something we say. But at the same time, you're watching this for our opinions. And I'm an intelligent person. You're not going to convince me otherwise. But there are times where I will make a stupid comment. She can do the same thing.
Yes.
Just because we're saying that one comment's stupid, we're not saying she's stupid. She knows basketball, she knows sports. Just that one comment was a very biased comment.
And I'm pretty sure I made the statement whenever I said that. It has nothing to do with her thinking that Joel Embiid might be better. I would be more than happy to hear her opinion about that. But
it was based off what she said.
If your only covering for that is that if she looks at 2 other gentlemen, her only covering for saying that she thinks he's better and she would take him is that because I know more about DeMarcus Cousins than you do. That's an ignorant statement.
It is. It is. And you know, looking at past videos, I've said plenty of times, I'm just going by me watching them, right? But if you look back, most of the times when I'm saying that, we're comparing 2 people that can't really be compared. The game's different between the 2 time frames. Mm-hmm. You can't compare those 2 players. That's why I'm saying I'm just going by me watching them, who I like better. If you can compare them, you have to go by the numbers. I mean, that's legitimate. And going by the numbers, there is no stats that support that claim that Joel's better.
And I understand. I made the same comment back. I said, you may think you know more than what they do. I guarantee I know more. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But I know one thing. I brought a lot more ammunition to debate to back my claim than what she seemed to bring for hers.
Well, that's for sure. But we ain't jumping back to that. So, like I said, speaking on this one, it is absolutely ridiculous and ludicrous that nothing at all happened at all to them from a sports standpoint, as sports were widely affected. And I disagree with it 100%, and he does too as well. But let us know what you think. If you liked it, hit the like button and that subscribe button. Definitely share it with your friends as well. Like us on Facebook, Bluegrass Sports Show, Twitter, the Bluegrass Sport 2. And like I said, feel free to let us know what you think. If we disagree with your comment, I'm going to start answering everybody that comments in a sense. If I don't get to you, I do apologize, but I'm going to try for the most part to answer your comments and clear up any miscommunications that may have happened. But
I didn't miscommunicate. I was straightforward.
But anyway, I'm trying to be mediator here, Barry. Let me mediate.
You go.
Anyway, guys, as always, thank you for watching. Have a great day.